get to my little rankings here of SEC coaches most likely to win their first SEC title in the years to come. How about this? I mean, this was see catching a lot of eye rolling here, but this is something we touched on, and I cast my ballot, so to speak. I don't have an official one, even though I am a member of the Football Writers Association of America. But the FWAA announced here on Monday evening the winner of the Steve Spurrier First Year Coach Award. Gus Malzahn, Shane Beamer, Josh Heupel. Those were your finalists. And I'm seeing a lot of confusion here. People are like, why in the hell Josh Heupel and Gus Malzahn on the list? They've been coaches. It's not first-time coaches, first-year coaches. So literally anybody in their first year at a school eligible for this award. And they announced co-winners. Shane Beamer and Josh Heupel, co-winners of that award. I don't know why the hell they're giving out an award if they're going to co-winner it. I think they've done that once before in the 20 years they've been giving this thing out. But, man, the meme of Shane Beamer celebrating, getting stomped at Tennessee. I mean, I'm getting tired of seeing that in my mentions, but it's just so it's funny as hell to see so many fans responding to that. Where it's all Tennessee people, but in South Carolina, I mean, you got yourself a hell of a coach. Both those programs do, and it's funny. I'm poking fun of that they're co-winners, but at the end of the day, South Carolina, Tennessee, the arrow's pointing way up, and it's got a lot to do with the coach, each respective coach you got down there. And that's a great segue here to get to my rankings here of coaches most likely to win their first SEC title in the years to come. And of course, I mean, I don't care who you are. You got to have Clark Lee last on your list, number 12. And not necessarily a reflection on him, but more the fact that they're in total rebuild mode in Vanderbilt. Haven't won an SEC game in 2 years. I mean, it's going to take a while for this guy to field even a competitive roster in the SEC. So, hey, better days are ahead. Just signed a hell of a recruiting class, but yeah, there's no chance in hell anybody but Clark Lee is going to be number 12 on this list for now. Number 11, all right, here's where we're already going to have people complaining, no doubt. But I'm going Eli Drinkwitz, Missouri. And again, I'm not saying you got a poor coach or anything. Obviously, last season was disappointing given the hype all off season. But I just think you got a long way to go in terms, particularly in the line of scrimmage. Now, I know you just had a hell of a recruiting class here, but you're going to have to stack about 3 more of those on top of each other before you can realistically say you're going to be winning SEC titles. Loving what I'm seeing from the offenses, given who they've had to work with under center. I made it very clear. I didn't think Connor Bazelak was all he's cracked up to be, and certainly I think that played out on the field this year. So how does this thing go when Drinkwitz got his guy in there? Remember, he didn't recruit Connor Bazelak. He inherited him. I believe 2 of the quarterbacks now in the running for the starting job next season are going to be Drinkwitz guys, and throw in Brady Cook in there. But hey, he looked solid in the bowl game, I thought, given all the losses they had. But we just got a long way to go here in Missouri. Gonna have to see a big bounce back from Drinkwitz before I move him up this list. Now, number 10, I'm gonna lose some of you because you're already in love with this man and he's not coached a damn game at your school yet. But for now, I'm putting Billy Napier number 10, Florida Gators. Now, no doubt, very impressive. I think arguably more impressive than any hire in the SEC right now is what Billy Napier has done in terms of putting his staff together, in terms of recruiting, and he does got a lot of talent to work with coming into his first year here in Gainesville. But, I've heard this all before. I've heard this same song and dance. We all get excited about these coaches. And at Florida, let's be honest. It's been outside of Steve Spurrier and Urban Meyer, you ain't winning a big down there. Now, you got the fan base. Now you're building the facilities. You've got a tradition that goes back decades now of being excellent. So all the pieces are in place. Not saying he can't do it. damn near won the Sun Belt every year he was in it. So, I mean, he has got a pedigree of knowing what it takes to win at a high level at the Sun Belt Conference level. But until we see it in the SEC, I mean, he's kind of like, I don't want to say a blank canvas because we've seen he's got such a strong track record of winning on the field, but not running a program in the SEC. I'm not sitting here doubting him, but until we see it, I can't in good conscience put him any higher than number 10 right now. Now, number 9, love this coach, but I don't know if he'll win an SEC title. Mike Leach, and here's why. Because this isn't just a Mississippi State thing. This has been across his entire coaching career. I mean, he'll turn around and he'll win a big game like at Texas A&M, like he did this year at Auburn, and then they turn around and they lose a tough one, like a Memphis, like at Ole Miss. I know Ole Miss was very good this year, but your team basically, showed up with its C- game in the biggest game of the year. So that's just something that has plagued him from so many years, and I don't know if they can win down there I'm talking a conference championship level without a stellar defense. And I think they could possibly get there with Zach Arnett. He's that good. Can they hold on to him? Seems like every year someone's trying to poach that guy from Mississippi State. So you keep to Zach Arnett. You continue to build this offense up like you did last season. It started a little slow, and then it really, really started humming by midseason, late in the season. Got to get that more consistently year in and year out, and then maybe I'll move Mike Leach up on the list. Number 8, I got Brian Harsin. Now, hell, I was about ready to give this guy SEC Coach of the Year at the midway point in the season. I know it seems like an eternity ago, but, coming into November, late October, Auburn controlled their destiny in the SEC West, and I thought they were going to be dead last in the West. Now, they ended up number 6, so not far off from that, but that goes to show you that I think this guy really is a good coach. I know the wheels fell off late in the season. It's been a tough couple of months for Brian Harsin and company, but I think that's all part of the buy-in process. And don't forget, this is a guy that I believe he's from Boise. I know he played there, coached there forever. I mean, this guy bleeds blue down there. You know what I mean? So he left the comfort of that job, a job he knew he was going to win 8, 9, 10 games every single season for the rest of the time. He could have been there 50 years. They would have had 50 years of success. He left the comfort to come to the SEC West, to come to where coaches' careers come to die. I mean, this guy, he came down to win a championship. That's his sole reason for doing it. And they weren't going to win it. And I'm talking national championship here, SEC championships. They're not going to do that at Boise. I don't care who you got at quarterback, or it just ain't going to happen. It's minor league compared to the SEC. So I give him a ton of credit. And, I think they're a long ways off from winning the SEC clearly. But I think I've seen enough from this guy to know that he's potentially got it in him to get Auburn there. Now, number 7, here's where things are starting to get trickier. But I'm going Shane Beamer, South Carolina, because I've been very, very, very impressed with what Shane Beamer's been doing in his first year in Columbia. I think the best is yet to come. And just given the fact that they made a bowl game, not the less beat the hell out of North Carolina when they got there, I mean, just could not be more impressed with all the adversity and the lack of elite talent they had on that roster, yet they were able to put it together. They were able to get the most out of a lot of these players. And then you're getting quarterback injuries left and right even before the season started. Really had to gut that thing out. But Shane Beamer, very impressive. I think, as long as they continue to point the arrow in the right direction, they continue to recruit well, both high school and in the transfer portal. Don't be stunned if the Gamecocks win them an SEC title under Shane Beamer. Number 6, probably going to catch some hell for this one. Mark Stoops, Kentucky. Now, hey, they may be Georgia's best competition here in the East next season, no doubt. They continue to build a program that's competing more often than not in the SEC. My problem with Mark Stoops in these big games, I don't know. I mean, he's never beat Georgia, beaten Florida twice, but just look at his analytics. His analytics are not pretty. He beats the teams he's supposed to beat, the teams that have more talent than him rarely beats him. And he's going to have to do that. I don't care how well they're recruiting at Kentucky, because when we're talking winning the SEC, you got to beat Georgia, and you got to turn around and beat Alabama or A&M or LSU. Now, they're doing it more consistently. They're showing up in these games. They're finding ways to win football games, but I don't know. Like I see Kentucky fans touting their non-conference record, which is outstanding. I believe they've got the longest non-conference streak in the SEC, but then you go through and look who they've played, and I think it's smart. I think that's the same damn thing. South Carolina, Arkansas, Missouri. I mean, that's what you should be doing. Vanderbilt, of course. You should be scheduling winnable games in the non-conference, because we all know that in the SEC there's no guarantees, and the difference between 2-5 and 5-2 in the SEC can be razor thin from year in and year out. So, hey, I got no problem with how they're doing it at Kentucky. I think it's genius. I think it's the way to do it. But I don't know if Mark Stoops big game coach yet. He's a hell of a recruiter. I think he's got an incredible eye for talent. He does a really good job identifying assistant coaches. But winning the SEC, it's going to take some upsets. And I'm not seeing that consistently from Mark Stoops to give him much higher than number 6 right now. Top 5, number 5, I'm going Lane Kiffin, Ole Miss, and the results speak for themselves. I mean, he has completely turned Ole Miss around basically overnight, and that's factoring in a damn COVID year where it was a nightmare to install everything. But yet in year 2, I know he had a hell of a quarterback, but you're breaking program records for most wins, and let's give him credit for identifying assistants that know how to get the job done. I mean, I think Lane Kiffin, and I know, hey, I'm the worst of anybody's calling him out for the fake injuries, but at the same time, we got to credit this guy for sitting here and looking at the rules and saying, okay, how can we bend them, not break them? How can we bend them a little to play to our advantage and there's no repercussions? I mean, he's just being smart. Whether you love it, like, and you're an Ole Miss fan, or you hate it like I do, hey, he's playing the cards that he's got, and he's doing it masterfully. So I think Lane Kiffin, now that he is more mature, even though he's constantly tweeting, but more mature of a CEO on the field, I think the best is yet to come for old Lane Kiffin. Now, number 4, I got Josh Heupel. Maybe a little homer pick there for Cousin Shane, but hell, I mean, he knocked it out of the park this year for the most part. A couple issues. I think the Pitt game comes back. I think that Purdue game, some mismanagement of the clock, and he may only know one speed to go, and that's damn warp speed, and that could kill you at times. But it's exciting. It's fun. I think it's going to get Tennessee some elite quarterbacks, receivers, running backs. They're all going to want to play in this offensive system. It's going to come down to how well the defense can take strides in his program. But man, Josh Heupel, I mean, he's got an incredible record going back to his UCF days. And if you look at him as an offensive coordinator, everywhere he's been, who in the hell knew who Hendon Hooker was at this time last year? He's one of probably the top 10 quarterbacks in the country now. So Josh Heupel, just an incredible offensive mind, and this is an offensive game now more than ever. So Josh Heupel, I got him number 4. Number 3, Sam Pittman, my man, Sam Pittman. Arguably, I say it time and time again, I don't think that there's a coach that's done a better job the last 2 years combined. Sam Pittman, just what a remarkable turnaround it's been in Fayetteville. And the roster, I still think, is nowhere near the elite of the elite in the SEC yet. The Razorbacks are playing with damn near everybody. The only game that comes to mind that got blown out was at Georgia. That was a buzzsaw, college game day. And hell, we just saw they just won the national championship. They were the best team in the country. They gave everybody else a hell of a game. And, a player or two away from having one of the best records in the country. And like I said, I'm not trying to downplay their talent, because they had certainly had a lot of talent on that team. But I think in the years to come, this Arkansas roster is going to be even better than it was this year. And I don't think it's crazy to think Arkansas one day in the future could be winning the SEC title, which is just insane to think about where it was when Pittman took it over. So number 3, Sam Pittman, got to keep his assistants or hire ones just as good, which ain't going to be easy. But if he can maintain that, I think Arkansas is going to win them an SEC title under Coach Pittman. Now, number 2, got to go Brian Kelly, LSU. And this is a mix of just how outstanding LSU has been as a program over the years. I mean, last 3 coaches all won national championships. And LSU annually has one of the best rosters in the SEC. That ain't changing anytime soon with some of the staff hires Brian Kelly has made, with how great of a state Louisiana is for producing elite talent. LSU Tigers are going to be there time and time again. And we flip over to Brian Kelly. I mean, hell, he's had freaking Notre Dame knocking at the door, college football playoff twice, BCS national championship game once. I mean, that's remarkable. So just imagine what he can do with a much better roster. I don't think it's a guarantee that he wins the SEC at LSU, but as long as those players buy in, as long as he's able to execute his vision, I think it's it is close to a guarantee that they're going to win the SEC, and they'll probably win a national championship down there in Baton Rouge. So, hey, the only other name on this list, of course, Jimbo Fisher. He's won a national championship, won several ACC championships, but he's never won an SEC championship as a head coach. You got to believe that day is coming. Nearly came 2 years ago. Aggies fell just short, only lost to Alabama during the 2020 season. And hell, they turned around and beat them in 2021. So, hey, the pieces are in place. The fan base is in place. You got an incredible home field advantage. You got to, their big issue this year was quarterback depth, particularly, and they've just loaded that room this year. I know they're losing some pieces. I'm not guaranteeing that A&M is going to win the West, win the SEC next season, but, all signs point to that happening sooner rather than later in College Station. Jimbo's got the pedigree, he's got the talent, and they're bringing in more talent than they've ever had before. So talent is the key to all of this. That's in large part annually how you determine who's going to win the college football playoff, who's got the best talent. That's why we've been saying Georgia all since last offseason, the team to beat in the country. It proved to be true. Texas A&M, they continue to stack these recruiting classes. It's going to be true for them as well. So Jimbo Fisher, I think, is destined to win him SEC championship, which is obviously going to punch the Aggies' ticket to the college football playoff. All right, so that's going to do it. Man, this is probably the longest time I ever talked to myself in this camera here. So I'm going to get off the line before I start getting lightheaded here. But hey, I've already reached out to some guests. Should have some great guests lined up. Going to cover all teams across the SEC hopefully this week. But more to look forward to this week on the podcast. I appreciate each and every one of you for checking me out and for checking us out. And we'll catch you on the next one.